What's going on, party people? We live and direct on a Friday night, 7 p.m. You know how we do it. You know how we get down, man. And tonight, I got my brother from another mother with his old crazy ass. My friend for a long time, and we go way back to Four Fighters, Rocking the House. We go back to Blue Room, Rocking the House. And so when I got the opportunity to interview this guy, I said, you know what, I got to get him on because his personality is amazing. He's done some amazing things in Orlando, and he's definitely a part of that sound of Orlando. So let's give it up for my brother from another mother, Remington Steele.
Yo, what up?
What's good, homie?
What's up, brother? What's going on?
Yes. Finally get to chop it up with you, man. It's been a long time since we got to really chop it up. I mean, I seen you at the club maybe a few months ago, but I said, you know what, I gotta get this brother on the show because you've done some amazing things in Orlando, and I think the people need to know that. You know what I'm saying? You've done some legendary shit. You've been a part of some legendary events, and this is what I think the sound of Orlando is all about. It's about our people doing their shit and giving their flowers while they're still alive when you have the entire planet trying to kill you. So this is important for you to come on and tell your motherfucking story.
I
What's good,
appreciate
homie?
that. Yo, keep going. Come on, I'm not used to this.
You already know, Jack. You already know.
Nah, I
So
appreciate it. Yeah.
so tell the people who may not know, which could be unbelievable. Tell the people who the fuck you are.
So I am Remington Steele of the mighty House of Steele. I've been in Orlando since '96, doing my thing, clubs, hip hop, a little reggae, whatever, shit like that. But yeah, I'm Remington Steele. So, you know, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people when they see me, they go, "Oh shit, you're Remington." So yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So you're being a little modest, which is dope, right? So I'm gonna have
give
to.
me a minute. Give me a minute.
Right. So I'm gonna have to cut in between them layers of onions there and try to see what we can establish. Okay, so you're a DJ, obviously. You know,
Yes.
we all fellow DJs here. What was the point in your life that drove you to DJ? What was the moment that you said, I want to DJ, and then on top of it, I want to DJ hip hop music? What was that breakthrough moment? When did you fall in love with hip hop that way?
So I think the thing with us or with a lot of the older, let me not say older. I feel like I'm so fucking old when I say that. Holy shit. But I feel like like kind of with our generation, I think growing up, at least for me, I didn't really see a lot of barriers in music. It was just kind of music. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would, wake up on a Saturday morning and one Saturday my mom could be playing, Billy Joel and Elton John while she's cleaning the house. And then the next Saturday she's playing the Beatles, and the next Saturday she's playing disco music, and the next Saturday she's playing Sugar Hill Gang and, shit like that. So growing up, it was just kind of like music was just music.
Right.
And Beastie Boys, Run DMC, shit like that. I mean, I think I got their cassettes from the Columbia House. You tape the penny to the card and you send it in, and they send you the cassettes and stuff. So, that was kind of my first taste of hip hop. What was that? I don't know, 86, 85 ish,
Okay.
84,
And you
85, shit like that.
were you originally from Orlando?
No, I'm from South Florida. I'm from
Okay.
a place called Coral Springs. So
Shouts out
Fort
to
Lauderdale.
shouts out to Broward County. What's
Yes,
good?
sir, Broward. And what's crazy too is we'll get back to that too. But I think being from South Florida, you're exposed to so much culture down there and such a wide range of music in so many genres. You know what I mean? Because it's not just like kind of one thing. I mean, we had reggae, we had reggaeton, we had hip hop, we had booty music. There was bass, there was all it was all that. So
Right.
that benefited me too. Kind of growing up down there. So I think I had the Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince album, and it was DJ Jazzy Jeff live at Union Square, and
Nice.
he was just cutting it up, and he was transforming. I was listening to it. I was like, "Yo, what the like? This shit is crazy,"
Right.
And of course, Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and EPMD and shit like that. And so, the sound of scratching always fascinated me. You know what I mean? I was like, "Yo, like that sounds dope. Like, how do they do that?" Like, So the sound of cutting and scratching always fascinated me and interested me, and so I was in 6th grade, and this dude had he said he was a DJ. Like, we were talking, he said he was a DJ, Puerto Rican kid, and he's like, "Yo, I'll bring you one of my mixes." And I remember he brought me the mix, and the first 2 songs he mixed was like Magic Mike. I think it was Magic Mike cuts the record, and it was another record, and he mixed them together, and it was like seamless. And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, yo, like it just blew my mind. So I was probably like, 12 years old, where I was like, "Yo, I want to be a DJ. I want to get, turntables. I want to get into it." And I remember I asked my dad. I told him I wanted turntables, and my father was like, he was in construction. We were like very like middle class, if that, whatever. And so I remember he was gonna pawn some jewelry to get me turntables, and I was like, "Nah, like don't worry, it's okay. Like don't do that. Like, please don't do that." And he was gonna get me like the realistic mixer and like shit, because that's really what was around. I mean, there wasn't much, and
Right.
So after that, like, I didn't get it. I had a little what's funny too is because I hear a lot of DJs talking about how they came up and the equipment that they used, and like you see the similarities. Like, holy shit! Like, I think back then you were creative and you were innovative, and you took what you had and you tried to imitate and emulate what you wanted to be.
Right.
And I think they say the more you wish something into existence, the more it kind of comes about. And I used to make pause tapes and shit. I mean, I'm a kid in South Florida. Like, I'm not exposed to you know New York DJs. Like, I mean, we're talking, this is like 1987, whatever. There wasn't really. I mean, MTV Raps, I don't even think was really popping. Maybe it was just coming around. There was no YouTube. There was no internet. So if you heard something, you had to figure it out. There was no instructional video for you to go get. You couldn't jump on YouTube and be like, "Yo, oh, that's how they do it."
Right.
You had to listen to it, and you had to figure it out. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So like I used to make pause tapes and shit, and I had the what was it called? Like, you have the rack unit or whatever, and I think it had a defect or something weird. So I could hit the tape deck and the phono button at the same exact time, and it would let me play the phono over
Nice.
the tape. You couldn't do it
Nice.
with the radio for some reason. But I remember I had I had a friend that he used to get records from a record label. It was crazy because I'm like, how do you get, like, he wasn't a DJ, but for some reason, like, he had these connections, and we're like young teenage, like, this was before like record pools and shit like that.
Yes,
And
sir.
I remember I had the BDP record, and it was he was saying, "Track the music, don't lose it." And Lord Finesse, I had the Lord Finesse tape, and Mike Smooth was cutting it up. He was going, "Track the music, don't lose it." And I put it on top. I was like, I have that sample. So I put it on top of the record player, and I hit tape and I hit phono, and I'm listening to it, and I just put my hand up there and I just started kind of moving it around. Like you had no fader. Like I guess if we went back and we listened to it, we'd be like, what, that sounds like shit. Like what do you? But it was like but it was like you figured it out. You try to mimic it. You try to emulate it.
Right.
And I remember I had some friends over the house because we were all like big hip hop heads. You know what I mean? And they were like, "Yo, that shit is dope. Like you could be a DJ." And I was like, And I had a friend of mine, his sister's boyfriend gave him a mixer. And I had like a piece of shit turntable from a rack system that was like a Fisher rack system that you could hit the button and it would move the tone arm. It was automated. And my friend had a Pioneer turntable and it was a Technics. It was like a piece of shit. It wasn't a 1200. So my strong side was my right side. Like I had, I was like lighter touch and stuff. So I put that on the right. I put the shitty one on the left, and he got some records from somebody, and we just started kind of messing around. And I was like, yeah, like I want to do this. I'm gonna do this. And I went, and I was 16 years old. I got a job at a place called Sound Warehouse, which they had up here too. It's like a Peaches, like and I got a job at Sound Warehouse. They sold records. I saved up my money to buy some turntables. I would get records at a discount. It was like $3 a record. I'm like, yo, this is a perfect gig. And there was a kid in our school, and he had equipment, and he just, some people are just not meant to be DJs. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he knew I wanted to be a DJ, and we had spoke about it. And one day I'm sitting at work, and he pulls up. And I was like, what's this kid doing? Like, it wasn't like a friend of mine. It was just like a kid on, And I'm like, oh, man. So he comes in. He's like, hey, you want to buy my equipment? And I was like, how much? He's like, I think it was like $425. I paid for two 1200s.
Nice.
And the mixer. And he gave me all his records. And he gave me speakers. And he goes, something's wrong with the turntables, though. I think they're warped. And I'm like, okay, like these things are solid fucking metal. Like, what do you mean they're warped? He just didn't know what the fuck he was doing. So I bought the equipment off of him, and the rest is history. So, I locked myself up in that room. My friends would come over. I mean, I would spend my whole paycheck every week, every 2 weeks. I would buy the record as they would come in at Sound Warehouse. I would put them off to the side. Like I had first dibs on everything. I would drive to all the other Sound Warehouses. I would drive to the DJ store. Like it just took off. And
well, let me pause you there because you mentioned some trademark epic things of our generation. You said pause tapes,
yeah,
and Peaches. I mean, and if you know anything about Orlando,
yeah,
that Peaches on East Colonial, right by the Fashion Square Mall, and the Infinite Mushroom, that was the place to be. I mean, you had to go there. Yeah. You had to buy them records. I mean, that was, between Southern music and Rock and Roll Heaven and Peaches, it was like we were laced with the records. And then them pause tapes, man. I mean, brothers don't realize that the first mixtapes were those pause tapes.
Yeah.
You cut them up right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that was literally the beginning of Jam Pony's show.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the Jam Pony Express. Yep. Motherfucker, say what? Like, that was straight pause shit right there, man. And that's what we did when we didn't have them turntables coming up, man.
Yeah.
We got to put our name out there somehow.
And you could chop stuff up. And, I remember I would take like you hear these DJs, they do the intros and stuff, right? Right. You could take the pause tape and you could take a DJ scratching something and then another DJ scratching something else. And and you would just it would be like 5-10 scratches just all in, and it would be like, yo, this shit is ridiculous. Right. You know what I mean? So I mean I miss that. I miss the pause tapes, we had to be very creative and we had to be, very innovative and stuff. And technology was not what it is today. You know what I mean? You didn't have shit at the tip of your fingertips.
Nah,
you had to figure it out. You had to make it happen.
You had to take drives and shit. You had to go places, man. I mean, shit. Once I knew about Beach Street in the Bronx, I was gone. Like,
Yeah.
you know, once I had a vehicle, I was out. I
Yeah.
was going back and forth trying to, you know, you travel. You go to Miami, you try to
Oh
go
man.
to any record store that you can where the city is, where the big city is, because you knew you'd get them $3.99s, them $4.99s, and $5.99, them bootlegs.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so you were in Broward, and you said, "All right, I'm coming to Orlando." What was the move to get you to Orlando?
So, you know, I had a bunch of friends that were
Oh,
moving up here.
by the way, uh, your boy, our boy South Star was on the check-in.
Word. What up?
He said, "I worked at Peaches too." Yeah, you know, bro. Like, you had to be at Peaches. Like,
Yeah.
Peaches was the fucking move in
Yeah.
Orlando, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Every Tuesday, I used to go because we did 4-5 on Wednesdays, right? New
Right.
records used to drop, or they used to get the shipments on Tuesdays. So I
Right.
used to drive around on Tuesdays. I would hit up Peaches, and then I would hit up. There was a spot downtown. I forgot the name of it. But Nigel and dude Howe used to work there. Asian kid, and
Right.
you know, I would go by Vinyl Frontier, and then I would go by Drop Shop, and then I would just make my way up Colonial. And I would hit. There was a place on Hiawassee. I forgot the name of the place. It was in a strip mall.
Oh yeah, you talking about tucked in? It was by Kmart. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was tucked in that Kmart back there.
Yeah, and I used to catch some gems in there, right? So
Yeah.
you know, you would make the rounds every once in a while. They still had a sound warehouse up by the Florida Mall for a little while.
Oh
too.
yeah, I remember that place. Yeah.
So
yeah.
you know, I used to be like, yeah, I get the employee discount, right? I used to go to Peaches. At the time, you could give Peaches a business card, and Peaches would set you up on a DJ discount. And I think I used to get, I don't know, was it 10, 20%, whatever? But I'd be like, yeah, I get the DJ discount, and you come up with the, you know, Rock and Roll Heaven. I would only go to Rock and Roll Heaven if I was desperate, because
now what you're alluding to about buying records was what most people don't understand. Like, they benefit from it today, right? Because you got Serato.
Yeah.
Talk about instant doubles.
Yeah.
But back then, when you bought one record, it was, you had to buy two of them.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't like, you know, you bought maybe one album, but only sometimes, you know, if that album was okay and you didn't need that.
You're like, I'll just get one.
Right. But a lot of times back then, them albums were fucking insane.
Yep.
The Straight Outta Compton albums, the Marley Marls, you know, the Public Enemy, the Dr. Dre's.
All of that.
You know, you had to have doubles of that.
Yep.
So that money was everything, man, for them records, bro. Straight up.
You're talking about $12 every time you bought a single, because you had to buy it twice. It was $5.99 a record.
Right.
So you know, you dropping $12. You know, you figure.
Yo, Infinite says, "What's up, man? What's good? What's good, Infinite?"
Well, you know, he's a lifesaver too, because with Jam Lando Record Pool, you know, there came a point where
shouts out to him, bro, because he was my first record pool that I ever fucked with. Jam Lando, bro. He lived over there downtown, and you can go right to his house.
Ray,
get the hook up, bro.
Clark J.
Right.
I remember when we started doing 4-5, we were like a couple weeks in.
Right.
And dude shows up with a box of records. I'm like, fuck is this? And he's like, yo, he's like, you know, I'm Clark J. I do, you know, record promotions, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'll give you records, I'll give you promo, you know, just play them.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So, you know, there was times where Clark J would show up on a Wednesday night at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, 11:30, and hand me the record, and it was like the brand new Jay-Z or the brand new Nas, or I mean, it was like, you know, you might not even have heard it yet. Right. And he's like, yo, boom. And I was like, no shit. And I would fucking play that shit right in the middle of the, you know, right in the middle of the night, brand new.
Oh, you already know what time it is, South Star.
Yeah.
Yes. Jam Lando, Street Dwellers, bro.
Street
Come on,
Dwellers
man.
with Gilbert, with South. Yeah.
And man, where the fuck is Gilbert? Can somebody please find Gilbert? Like Waldo, bro. Where the fuck is Gilbert? That's
a South Star question. You know what I mean? So it was like, you know, you had, you know, if you were lucky enough to, you know, to be working, you know what I mean? They would come late. I remember South would bring he'd bring boxes of records. Boom, here. Right. You know what I mean? Joey Nice for with Def Jam. Right. You know what I mean? So, and you know, you would get on these these
Yo,
radars.
Eakin was
Well,
showing up with them damn Def Jam records, man.
yeah, Eakin had Def Jam too. Well, see, Eakin was House of Steel, so you know, he could be like, "Yo, you want this motherfucking record?" I'm like, "Come on, so
Right.
you want this motherfucking record?" I'm like,
Right. Shouts
you
out
know,
to DJ Eakin,
yeah,
man.
shout out to my brother Eakin. But you know, so yeah, it was expensive back then, man. You know, especially if not only did Ray make sure I had doubles, he would he would make sure sometimes I had triples and quadruples and 6 or 8 because you know it wasn't only just me in House of Steel, right? We had 007, we had Quest, we had JVJ outside who used to
Right.
spin the patio. You know, Josh Rock Johnson used to spin the patio out there with him too. And, you know, and then it was like, I will, you know, if there was something that Eakin didn't have yet, Eakin had connections with the label. Eakin was like, forget. I'd be like, yo, he'd be like, I had that for 2 weeks now. I'm like, oh, you dick. But
Right.
you know what I mean? So it was like, yeah, you know, I mean, you if you were on their radar, you got laced up, and they would come sometimes, and I'd be like, yo, just give me the whole box. Like they'd have a box of like brand new records, and sometimes it's just one record in the box, and I'd take half the box, and I'm like, all right, here's for the rest of the team, because Double O needs doubles,
Right.
you know what I mean? Quest needs doubles, you know, and I was like, so you know, it was
I think
good.
I got my Chronics from Ray, and I was like, yo, I remember they were white label too, and it had like it was just none but a G thing, and I believe there was it was either Bitches Ain't Shit or something on there. It was a B-side on there, and that was everything, dude. I got it. I would see him like literally before I got to the club, and it was just like, yo, Ray, come on, man, hook me up, bro. Let me get them records. So, I mean, it was great growing up having that access.
Yeah.
As if we were like in the big city, right?
Yep.
And what was your first club, and how did it go at when you first DJ'd at your first club? Like, was it epic? Was it a failure? What, like, how did you feel when you first were able, when someone said, hey, Remington, come spin on my joint? Well, how did that go?
So I had a first club in South Florida, and I had a first club in Orlando. So my first club in South Florida was a club called Club South Beach, right? And it was a friend of mine's dad and another kid's dad. They own the club.
Right.
And you know, it was like a teen club, you know, because I was like 16, 17 years old.
Right.
And it was and everyone knew me for being a DJ. There weren't many DJs, you know, so everyone knew me for being a DJ and stuff. I did parties and stuff. Yo, we threw parties, like we would throw parties at Bernard's house, and we would throw parties at my boy Chang's house, and we would hand out flyers at like fucking BCC, like we had like 200-300 people coming to a house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like G Bell was at the door patting people down. Like it was crazy. So, you know, I like it was just kind of like, all right, I'm DJing in my room all the time. I'm just gonna DJ in the living room. You know what I mean? It was like it wasn't nothing like, you know, it wasn't nothing different. It wasn't, you know what I mean? So so I did the Club South Beach, and it was like in a shopping plaza. You know what I mean? It was like I don't know, it was the size of like a fucking Eckerd's or like a CVS or some shit.
Oh shit! Oh, come on, man! You just gonna say Eckerd's? Like, come on, man!
Like, you know, it wasn't tiny. I mean, you probably, you know, it's probably 500, 600, 700 people could fit in. And like it was a big, like it was in a fucking shopping mall. And yo, I DJ with Jam Pony there.
Oh,
like Dynamite, DJ Dynamite.
Yes, sir.
Fucking Craze. So nice. Craze at the time, he was part of a group. I think they were called the Funky Lunatics. Funky Lunatics. It was him, and it was another dude, and the dude rapped, and Craze was the DJ.
Yes, DMC champion DJ Craze.
So you know, I'm probably 16, 17. Craze, I think he's a couple years younger. And so one of my boys down there, DJ, he was nice. He used to DJ for Luke a little bit. His name was Jazz Nice. So Jazz Nice was nasty. And I remember Craze came, and they were doing a show because the kid was a rapper. Like it was hip hop. You know, you're talking. This is like This is like the early '90s, you know.
Right.
So it's probably '93 actually, because he did the Protect Your Neck, and where he goes, coming through your town like the neighborhood Spider-Man, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we were there doing a sound check, and he's, cutting it up, and we're just like, yo, like this kid's fucking ridiculous. Like he's a kid, like he was like almost like a child, right?
Right.
And
right.
he's doing, swinging through your town like the neighborhood Spider-Man, and you don't see him,
Right.
you just see his hands, and it's like this,
right.
and then next thing you know, he pops up and he puts the Spider-Man mask on. And we're like, holy shit! Like, did he really just fucking do? Like, it was amazing.
Right.
You know
right.
what I mean? This was before he had ever done DMC or anything like that. And him and Jazz Nice battled and shit. And of course, Jazz Nice was nice. He was nasty, but he wasn't like Craze murdered him. So this club actually was I mean, it's a club that nobody knew. Maybe my high school friends would remember it and shit like that. But
Right.
yeah, it was crazy because we met Craze there. I spun with with Jam Pony, with Dynamite, DJ Dynamite.
Shouts out to Jam Pony representing that Brown County. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Uncle Al, all them.
Yeah, all of that. So yeah, so I mean that was my first taste of clubs in South Florida. Actually, so there was a group, they were called Dimension Disco, right? And they were a reggae sound, and they were in South Florida. And one of my friends DJ'd reggae, and he was he's Jamaican and shit, and they were looking for a hip hop DJ to come, spin at their nights. So we they hit me up and they're like, yo, I heard you're a good DJ, blah blah blah, and they did a club called Spirit Lounge,
Yes,
and Spirit Lounge was it was by the airport in Miami. Like it was Miami. It was close to like Kendall, I guess, or whatever, right?
Right.
And it's crazy because we went to high school with Gloria Velez, right?
Right.
So, there's a lot of, it's crazy the history and like the connections and shit. And we knew Gloria Velez. My friends knew Gloria Velez. She used to live next door to my boy Dre. So we're sitting there with DJ, I'm DJing and shit. And first of all, Dimension, I learned a lot from them because, yeah, they were a reggae set. They were a reggae group. But they were like, look, you don't play for the men. You play for the women.
Yes, sir.
Because it doesn't matter. Who cares if the men are dancing? You want the women to have a good time. You want the women to dance. It's all about the women.
Right.
And so
shouts out to all the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
Shouts out to the ladies. So
what's up, Katie?
They made me, because at the time, I was just hip hop. You know what I mean? Like I started spinning. I was hip hop. I mean, I was spinning fucking, Black Moon and Wu-Tang and, Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul and, shit like that. Alcoholics. Like it was like I was just a 90s golden era hip hop kid. And I remember I went there, and the first night I was there, they're like, yo, play this. And they gave me the records to play, and I was playing disco. And I was playing like Michael Jackson, and I was playing Prince, and I was playing YMCA, and I was playing, like shit that our parents used to, go out to clubs to. You know what I mean? So so fast forward to, we moved to Orlando. So a bunch of our friends moved to Orlando, like Bernard, Dre, shit like that. So me and G Bell were like, all right, we'll move to Orlando. We would come up here on the weekends and shit, and it was dope, right?
Right.
We would go to Firestone. I got caught with a fucking fake ID at Firestone.
Shouts out to all my Firestone heads out there,
We would go to Jamaica Me. I remember I got caught at Jamaica Me Crazy.
Okay, which one though? Which one? Because there was several.
Right? It was
the Mill. The Mill.
It was on Sunday nights.
At the Mill, right?
No, it was at Firestone.
Oh, at Firestone, okay.
And it was around when Kid Capri came, and they had Kid Capri and Redman.
Right.
And they had, a bunch of shows, So yeah, I got caught with the fucking fake ID. I fucking never forget that shit. It sucked. But anyway, so we would come up here all the time. We're like, yo, Orlando's fucking dope. Like we loved it.
Right.
we would try to find hip hop clubs. There was scarce.
But talk about that, right? Because during the 90s, during really like the second golden age of hip hop, it was a deal to go to anywhere where they're playing consistent enough amount of real hip hop, like all the shit that was going down. Because to your point, back then they didn't want to hear that because you had other music that was out that was very poppy, commercial,
right?
Like, and so a lot of DJs took hits for playing stuff that they knew they didn't want to play,
right?
But they had to play because it was a thing of keeping the ladies, in the club.
Yep.
And a lot of those girls, believe it or not, they did like the Wu-Tangs. They did like the Mobb Deeps.
Yeah.
Like everybody, when you play that now, it's funny because you play it now, everybody's like, yo, 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 yo. But when they were our age, when we were all back then, they were giving that screw face. They didn't want you to play that shit.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, I remember there was a period, and I always talk about this, especially with my DJs. There was a hip hop band, wasn't official. There was a hip hop band in Orlando where no club wanted to play any hip hop, and the only places you could find any hip hop were like at the halls.
Yeah.
Right. Shouts out to Lebanese.
Yeah.
The Pine Hills is, all of that shit because it was literally like there was a time period where they thought you play hip hop, there was going to be a fight.
Yeah, or
somebody
shootout
getting
or
shot.
something.
Right. And it was crazy. And it went on for about a good 2-3 years until they eased up on it. They all wanted to play house. Yeah. All wanted to play tech, club music.
Yeah.
And very little R&B. It had to be like straight up like Young MC or some shit like that or MC Hammer. You ask them to play hip hop, they play Takes Two.
Right. If you wanted to hear hip hop, you really had to go to the reggae clubs. And you had to deal with the 15 minutes that they gave you.
Right.
Talk
about it, bro.
It was like,
talk about it.
So we would go to This Is It, and we would go to, spots like that. And and it was like, it's funny too, because I remember we used to go to This Is It. And one of the jokes was, why did they call it This Is It? Because when you walk inside, you look around, you're like, yo, this is it? Like, you
talk about it, bro.
You hear so much about it. And it was like, I remember I would walk in, I'm looking at the fucking ceiling, and I'm like, yo, this shit is like, is it going to collapse? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was like a real, like, it was kind of sketchy.
Any dance hall back in them days was sketchy, bro. Like me and my brother G Powell, shouts out to Gary.
Yes.
We ran that Black Culture Lounge back then. Yeah. And to your point, we'd get about a half an hour of hip hop, and they ain't nothing but Rasta man and all these people up in there, and they like, yo.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go. Right.
Let's go.
I had a night at Black Culture Lounge too. We did a night over there for a while. It was crazy too, because Black Culture Lounge. First of all, the
shouts out to Mikey. Dude,
Mike.
I do anytime, and I would go just to, even if I wasn't DJing there that night, I would go for that jerk chicken, man. That shit was fire. Same with This Is It. This Is It had some good fire jerk chicken outside.
Yeah.
You don't see that hardly anymore, right? You know, it used to be like, all right, I'm gonna go in the club, I'm gonna bubble it up, I'm gonna give me a Heineken. Yeah. And then when I'm about to leave, I know I got food outside. Yeah. And I'm taking it home. Yeah. Yeah. We don't have that no more. It's like,
no, we don't.
It's sad, man. It's sad.
It is. So that's so my first club here in Orlando. So we all moved up to Orlando, and we would go out. It wasn't nothing consistent. Like, there were spots here and there, but there'd be a new night, and it's like, all right, 3 weeks later, you go back, and you're like, with what the fuck happened? Like the shit shut down already. So,
shouts out to Infinite. He just said, even my wife used to work for House.
Yeah, she used to do our door, Patty.
Yes, sir.
So we're sitting there, and G Bell is like, I was the DJ. Like, I was like, all right, I DJ, I'll fucking go buy the records. I just said the next thing. Gary was the brains. He was the driving force, because if he never went and looked out and said, I'm gonna go get us a spot, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Right. So I remember he went driving around looking for spots, and he went to was it Night Out Pub or like No, it was some little shithole on University and Alafaya, but by the subway. It was like a small place, and he got us a night there, and he's like, "Yo, they'll give us the night," and I was like, that place is kind of shitty. Like I wasn't trying to be like, bougie and nothing like that. I was like, like I don't know, that's kind of shitty. So he drove around, and he would walk on the spots and he'd be like, "Yo, we want to do a night," and they're like, "Oh, what kind?" And he'd be like, "Hip hop," and they'd be like, "Nah, no hip hop, like go away." Like it was, I mean, it was legit. Like, you know what I mean? They weren't fucking with you at all.
Right.
So he walks into Four Fighter, and this dude Pat, and old white guy, right? Older white guy, and Pat, we gave him the business plan, right? Because that's the way we handled ourselves. We would walk into a place and we say, "Yo, this is our business plan. Like this is our like." We didn't just go, "Hey, we want to do a night." We kind of really went in there kind of professionally, and
Ray says, "Nights out."
Nights out. It was like a little shithole, right? Yeah, nights out. So we walk. He walks in the Four Fighter, and Pat goes, "All right, like I'll give you the night. Like it's going to be a lot of work. It's not going to be as easy as you think it is. But if you guys want it, you put in the effort." He's like, "I'll do whatever I need to do to make sure that you guys are successful."
Right.
And Four Fighter had been doing the Latin night on Fridays, and they had been doing the Trini night on Saturdays, right? So it wasn't a club at all. It was a fucking old people restaurant, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? It was at the airport. I mean,
it was a weird place. It was a weird place. Like when I first pulled up at Four Fighters, the first time I DJ'd there, I was like, "This is weird, but it's dope because it's literally damn near on the airport, and it was like huddled way in the back, so you still had your privacy. You weren't all out on Front Street like a lot of other clubs.
Yeah,
and so it was like the people that were in the know." Knew about that spot.
It was a destination. Dope. It was a destination. There was no hopping.
No hopping. No. You went there specifically to go to Four Fighters.
You went there. You stayed there. That was it. And there was no reason to. Come on, let's be honest. There was no reason to leave.
Nah, man. Come on, bro. Come on.
But so we got the night at Four Fighter, right? And he's like, "All right, we'll give you Wednesday nights." And Wednesday nights, back in the day, Wednesdays was a good night. You know what I mean? You had mad college nights on Wednesday nights. Like you go downtown, like shit was busy. Like people didn't go, I gotta work fucking tomorrow. So it was all right, fuck it. It's a Wednesday night. Let's go. So I remember our first night. So, so G-Bell got the night, right?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, I spun reggae, right? But I'm like, all right, I want someone really. I want a reggae DJ. Like I want, So I got my boy Marksman, and I was like, "Yo, I'll teach you how to DJ." He never DJ'd,
right.
But I'm like he DJ'd in my house, like fucked around in my room, shit like that.
Right.
But I was like, "Yo, I'll teach you how to DJ. I'll teach you how to mix shit like that. I'll buy the records. I had records. You could use my record, whatever. And you be the reggae DJ. I'll be the hip hop DJ. You be the reggae DJ. And, listen, I'm a talker like this, but I'm not a fucking talker on the microphone. I don't want to touch that microphone for shit. When the club is going on, like, you know what I mean? Like, the only time I would ever touch the mic is if I'm fucking around and I'm pretending I'm Stone Love on the microphone and I'm going, yay, and shit like that.
Right? Bro, I already know, bro. I mean, I never seen you touch that fucking mic, and that shit was like, it was the most hilarious thing to me because as soon as something needed to be said, how the promoter come up, be like, hey, we need to promote these drink specials, whatever. You'd be like, cut.
Talk to Bernard. Talk to Bernard. Go talk to someone else. Go.
This was hilarious.
So I got the record DJ, and I told Bernard, I go, they all knew we were looking for club nights and shit like that. I told Bernard, I said, "Yo, I want you to be the MC. Like, I want you to be the voice of it." And we all went to high school together, so it's not like I just so I've known them since I'm 16 years old. We had fucking rap groups together. Like we just that's just it's so we get Four Fighter, right? And we had a guest list We had
Right.
like mad people on the guest list because they went to Valencia, like they were kind of popular. They knew people. They were in the know, shit like that.
Right. Right.
Yo, our first night, we had people on the guest list that didn't show up. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Oh hell no!
here we are. We threw house parties with a couple hundred people.
Right. Right.
Our
Right.
first fucking club night had like 28, 29 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, like, fuck, like we're done. Like this is, And the fucking next day, we go in because we had to go meet with Pat every Thursday.
Right.
And he didn't take money from us, nothing like that. He didn't charge tax, none of that shit. It was, we got the door, he got the bar, but we go in the next day to kind of, talk about things, and he'd feed us and shit like that too. He was, it was real cool. And by the way, we would go to after the club night, we would go back in the kitchen, we would fucking go in the fridge, we'd eat cake, we'd eat cheese. That shit was amazing. But so we went in the next day, and I wasn't very excited at all.
Right.
And Pat was like, yo, you guys had a pretty good first night. And I'm like, we had 28 people. Like, we didn't even have 30 people. We had 29 people.
Right.
And he's like, don't worry about it. You guys will get there,
Right.
And
that's the club business.
That's the club business.
You can have everything in place. Sound system, lighting, the spot is convenient. Like, you gotta remember, like, people from Orlando are notorious for, I couldn't find it, right? Like, they want spots where, that's why Orange Avenue is so notorious for people just going down there. Hook a crook, I can drive down there and see what's happening.
Yeah.
You gotta literally convince people to go to a place in which they don't know about, and then kind of get them to go there.
There was no GPS.
Nah. There was no Like, you had to be in the know for them spots.
I'm not joking. We had people that for weeks were trying to go and they could never find it, and they finally, yo, I finally found this fucking place.
Right.
It was it was crazy. So so we go in, that's the day after our first night, and Pat's like, don't worry about it. You guys will be good. And fucking next week came around, and we did like 50. I think we doubled our numbers. Right. And then the next week we had almost 100 people, and the next week another almost 100 people, and then a couple weeks later we were like 120, 150 people, and we did that for like, and 4-5 is not a huge place, but we did that for a while. I'm like, yeah, we need to like break this though, like and then fucking one night I was like, we felt it, like it was just in the air, like you felt that shit,
right?
And I'm spinning, and fucking G-Bell comes running to the back. He goes, yo, we got a fucking line. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yo, we got a fucking line. I'm like,
yo, Jesse said you had to put maps on the
flyer. Yeah, you did.
You already know, Jesse. You already know you had to put the maps on the flyers. It was fucking crazy.
That's true.
If it wasn't downtown, if you couldn't be at a club on Orange Avenue, you had to tell everybody. And it specifically had to be on Orange Ave. So Firestone always got the business.
Yeah.
Firestone
and Fat and Jazzy.
The social. Yeah, the social.
That was it.
And Decos back then. It was Decos back then.
Yeah.
And Zuma Beats. They'd always get the business because it's right fucking there.
But there wasn't much hip hop.
Oh, hell no,
There wasn't any hip. Like, you could go to Fat and Jazzy, and you would get, you would get some Tribe and some De La and some stuff like that for a little bit, and then it was back to like the jazzy shit. It wasn't like,
dude, talk about it.
2 hours worth of hip hop.
We were some of the, some of the pioneers in that. Most places, it was always lopsided when it came to hip hop. Hip hop was 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything else, they fucking played all night. They played the same fucking house record for fucking 6 hours.
Yes.
And then complain that you're going long on the fucking hip hop.
Yeah.
And then if it was a reggae spot, same shit. Reggae, all fucking night. And then fucking complain about the hip hop if you played longer than 15 fucking minutes.
1:30 hip hop came on, you got it for 15 minutes, and then if you weren't there for the reggae, you're like, all right, let's go.
But
motherfuckers
was in there, bro. Like they needed heroin, bro, because it was because you couldn't hear it anywhere. Yeah. Like I remember staying to the fucking club shut down so I can hear some fucking hip hop.
Yes.
I don't care. Like, back then it was like, man, fuck that. I'll go in the parking lot, I'll burn up and then come right in that motherfucker and we listen to some hip hop,
100%.
And then we'll fucking bug the DJ all fucking, yo, what the fuck, man? You ain't playing that Method Man? You ain't playing that Red Man?
Right.
Like, this is during the time where fucking How High, fucking Wu-Tang's out, Craig Mack, all this shit that's changing hip-hop and the sound. And we had a fight for every record they fucking came out with. Because unless you had the spot for yourself, which those spots normally did well. Like if we would get the halls or we get these little low key spots that only the ones in the know knew about. We get those it'd be ram packed.
But it wasn't weekly. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't weekly. It was an event. It was an event. Like, yo,
absolutely.
October, you going to that? Yeah, bro. I got to, bro. I got to get my heroin, bro.
It was a show. Probably Warheads would probably perform on something like that.
Right. You already know.
And it was like, all right, when's the next one? There was nothing that was regular. So, or nothing regular that lasted more than a few weeks, or I don't even know. I mean, I can't say that I remember anything lasting more than a couple months, because we'd be like, all right, let's go. And then I think maybe Headlights. I don't know if I consider Headlights.
Hell nah, man.
Like it was different.
Headlights was the normal. It's almost like they read it off.
The frat house.
It's almost like they read off of the same card. And if you were a fucking club aggravating motherfucker like myself back then, I went to the night began around 9:00. Right? You leave the fucking house, and then you would systematically comb the entire county of Orange and to look for the fucking spot. Right. And you wouldn't stop until it was like
you stumble upon
2 or 3, right? And you stumble upon it, and you'd be like, "Oh shit, it's nice over here. They're playing some shit."
There was a warehouse, I think, somewhere on the west side that we used to go. It was around where it used to be and shit. And every once in a while, there was something going on in the warehouse and shit. I think Jesse Jazz did a couple things, and it was just like, you had to, it was like a scavenger hunt. It was like, you kind of had to, you had to get lucky.
It's South Star. They didn't want that shit, man. They didn't want that shit, bro.
The clubs didn't, the owners didn't want it, but the people wanted it.
Right. Shouts out to DJ Shu on the check-in, man. He said salute both of y'all, man.
You too, brother.
You already know, man. But yes, I mean, that time was a significant time for all of us in the sense that it made us better as far as being able to deal with the people and then make epic out of nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And talk about that. Like, we turned Metro Skating Rink into a goddamn hip-hop. The Palladium. It was the Palladium of fucking Orlando. You know? The fucking Roxy for a minute. It was just insane because all the hood events went to Metro.
There's a difference.
Right.
There's a difference between the hip hop night and the hood night. Like, I don't consider really Embassy wasn't really a hip hop club. It was a hood club. You know what I mean? It was like, I remember seeing Tribe Called Quest there.
Right.
And I remember Mobb Deep was there.
Right.
But they weren't playing Tribe Called Quest and Mobb Deep, and they weren't playing Wu-Tang and a couple minutes, but the rest of it was it was booty music. It was shit like that. You know what I mean? So it was different. So so we came along with Four Fighter, and I think we changed the game. I think we
and we met up around that time during the Four Fighters. We linked up, and then we started working together at Four Fighters, and then what went down where they shut that shit down? It was just like they didn't want anything anymore. They shut the whole fucking thing down.
So we wound up doing Four Fighter for like 3 years.
Right.
Which was a long time for a hip hop.
Right.
Like we had an anniversary party. Like we had 2-3 anniversary parties. Right. Which that shit didn't happen back then. You didn't make a year. There was no such thing as a year anniversary party at a hip hop club.
Right.
So after like 3, and it's crazy too, because I look back on it and we got a lot of hate from a lot of fake promoters, a lot of promoters that they never really did
If it had said the outside music was getting too loud over the lake.
Let me tell you something.
I do remember those fucking complaints. You're right. They were complaining.
That was Lake. Is that Lake Crystal Lake? I think that is
Crystal Lake. Yeah.
So what's crazy is that in the wintertime, like in the cold, sound travels like crazy.
Right.
So we had Chevy J outside and shit like that. This shit was popping outside too. Like sometimes you go to Four Fighter and the outside had more people than the inside. Well, the inside was packed, but
there was several nights, dude, where that fucking whole place, it felt like the whole fucking place was shaking. There was so many. Like, if you tried to get out of that booth, and the way they had that booth and the way they would surround the booth, there was like a wall of fucking people.
Yeah, I got pictures
it was just crazy. It was just crazy.
It sucks because the booth was just like a wall, and like you were the same level as everybody else.
You know, it was a fucking wall to get out.
Lean back and hit the wall and shit.
Dude, it was so fucking packed in there, man. And if you had to go use the fucking bathroom, I remember it was just crazy. It was crazy town. What was done at Four Fighters, considering it was the equivalence of like a golf club restaurant.
Yes, exactly what it was. Exactly, it was like an old folks. They go eat their fucking roast beef and
and
you
go
know
golf
shit like that.
Right after that,
and they had the lounge in the back, and the lounge in the back is what we turned into the club. I mean, they had a tiny dance floor, but I mean, it was like it was like Caddyshack. It was like the clubhouse or like 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 that. So So yeah, we took Four Fighter and we said, all right, we're gonna do the opposite of like what the reggae clubs do, right? Because you go to the reggae club and they give you 3.5 hours of reggae and 30 minutes of hip hop. We're gonna flip that. We're gonna give them 3.5 hours of hip hop and R&B.
Right.
And we'll give them the 30 minutes of the reggae, because it's hip hop,
Right. So and mad people respected that, bro.
Yeah.
It was such a refreshing time when those periods of time actually broke through, because I always remember when people were leaving, they'd always be like, man, dog, you played all this shit, man. It was so dope, man. I can't find that nowhere. We can't get that nowhere.
Yeah.
And that was just crazy.
I think the thing with Four Fighter is that people always left wanting more. We always left, on an upswing. And here's the thing though, too. Because we didn't just play hip hop and we didn't just play Wu-Tang and we didn't just play reggae. We played booty music. You know what I mean?
Everything,
so
bro.
You were gonna get fucking Splack Pack and Two Live Crew and shit like that. And you were gonna get Wu-Tang and you were gonna get Nas and you were gonna get Mary J. Blige and you were gonna get I used to play fucking YMCA at the fucking and people were doing the fucking YMCA in a hip hop club, and it's like, yo, like this, it would blow my mind. But then we would do, a down south set. You know what I mean? Like we would play Master P, and we would play Tila, and we would play, back then it wasn't called ratchet shit, but it was like we would play Dirty South.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like we really tried to give everybody everything. You know what I mean?
So let's push forward a little bit, and then talk about that legendary Blue Room on Tuesday night that we just we tore that place fucking down for a long fucking time.
Blue Room was a dope. So I love Blue Room. Blue Room was such a good spot.
Yeah,
because I think Blue Room was. Well, I don't know. I got courted a lot when I was at Four Fighter. So, a lot of clubs would try to come get me. And Firestone was ridiculous to spin in. But I think Blue Room was one of the first places that, I had a residency in besides, but that cared about their sound system. And they cared about the upkeep of the place. And it was like, yo, this is a real club. Because Four Fighter wasn't a real club. You know what I mean? Four Fighter, you would be in Four Fighter sometimes at, 12:45, 1 o'clock at night, and the speakers are fucking holding on by a thread, and then boom, and those speakers were fucking gone. I mean, there were nights at Four Fighter from 1:30 to 1:45 or, whatever. We played on blown speakers. Like, it was a fucking mess. And after a while, we had to go rent speakers and shit, but there was no sound guy to be like, yo, we need the shit fixed by next Wednesday, So when you go to Blue Room, first of all, I mean, the DJ booth was amazing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Marcus Williams. Marcus was the manager. Marcus was awesome. Marcus was like, yo, what do you, he would take care of us. You know what I mean? Whatever you guys need kind of thing, So, and Blue Room was just, it was fun. It was fun. It was a party. Blue Room was, I don't want to say it was upscale.
Yeah, but the people that came in there was
different.
Man.
Yeah.
And they all loved the vibe that was going on in there.
Yeah.
Because there was, like, to your point, like, we would just totally go nuts in there.
Yeah.
Like, and just play everything. You had a little bit of fucking everything at once. And it just seemed so seamless. It seemed like it was like one guy up there doing everything, but it wasn't. It was like a concert of people up there.
There's different clubs that you DJ at, and you see the people, and it's not everybody goes to the same spots, and then sometimes you go to a spot, and you're like, yo, where the fuck do these people come from? And I remember we'd be in Blue Room, and I'd be like, yo, where do these chicks, like, are these chicks from Orlando? Like, where do they come? Like, what the hell? You know what I mean?
He said they lived all downtown.
Yeah.
You damn right they did.
Blue Room was one of the first ones that started letting people downtown.
Right.
Volcano.
Fucking Kano.
Yeah.
Wow.
Volcano was really actually what took 4-5 out.
Right.
To be honest with you, Pro Style and Nasty went to Volcano. Greg G was at Volcano. Actually, it's Pro Style and Greg. I don't know if Nasty was in there yet, but they were doing ladies free and drink free all night type of shit. And we're like, yo, they're just going to choke us out. And we held our own. I used to count, right? Because, back then, you get an ego and shit. And you're like, yo, there's another club. Yo, we were like, at one point, it was like 20-something, 30-something clubs that try to open on a Wednesday night to shut us down. And we would just laugh. Like, I remember Pro would come to 4-5 sometimes. And he'd be like, yo, I got to go spin over here. But I'll be back. Don't worry. It's going to suck. And I'm like, yo. And sure enough, 12
shout out to Pro
like,
Style, man. Shouts out to Pro Style. Hey, but we're at the top of the hour right now. I want to come back with a little light run. Talk about what you're doing right now and a little fun stuff before we get out of here.
Yeah,
so
man.
We're at the top of the hour. You're listening to the Soul Show with your boy Rome. And this is my homie, my brother, Remington Steele. Yes, sir. So I knew automatically.
There's a finger point.
Right.
There's a finger point.
Right.
Yo, you hear me?
All right, here we go.
There we go.
There we go. All right. So, hold on. There you are. Okay, there we are. All right, so yes, I got my boy DJ Remington Steele from the legendary House of Steele, and we're going to take this last 15, 20 minutes to talk about what you got going on right now, and how are people listening to you during this COVID-19 debacle?
Yeah. So I'm not a very good I'm not very disciplined with going. There's a lot of DJs going live and stuff like that, which is great. I think I think people need that or needed to see that and stuff like that. Shout out to Ghost Rider, shout out to Tamara, shout out to Livewire, shout out to Pudge, shout out to a lot of these DJs that are keeping people entertained. I went live a couple times on Instagram. It was cool. Of course, me, I'm very I'm 90s hip hop, you know what I mean? So I got on, I'll do some 90s hip hop shit like that. Yeah, so things are about to resume. I'll be back at Arrow on Sundays for Sunday Fun Day. We got the old school party that me and Livewire and Caesar and Jay Johnson do. So that'll be finding a new home soon. We were doing that at the Abbey.
And that's a beautiful place, man. The Abbey is a great place.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not doing club nights anymore. They gotta have the music off by midnight, so we gotta find a new home. We had a block party that we were doing, and it was gonna be hosted by Mr. Cheeks, but COVID, punched that in the face twice.
Right.
So
right.
Memorial Day, Labor Day, so that'll be getting rescheduled soon, and then that's it. I don't really I don't really have a lot of obviously nobody really has much going on right now. So, but
Right.
yeah, we'll be working on a couple things. I mean, I'm sure I'll be doing an old school night or a golden era night, somewhere soon. We got some things that we're plotting.
Okay. Well, here's where we get fun at. We're gonna do
Yeah,
a
let's
quick
go.
run through top 5 DJs, dead or alive. Go.
Oh, top
Go.
5 DJs.
Dead
Is
or
Remington
alive.
Steele. Top 5 DJs. Remington Steele.
Let's go.
Listen, Livewire. My brother Livewire.
Okay.
I watch Livewire sometimes. I'm just like, yo, what? Like, ridiculous. Orlando's got a lot of dope DJs. I'm very proud of the DJs in Orlando. You know what I mean? We got a lot of good young DJs. We got a lot of respectable, veterans in the game.
Yes,
We got
sir.
Grammy winners. We got DMC, finalists.
Yeah.
We got Red Bull finalists. Like, we got, multi-platinum, Magic Mike, like Nasty.
Right.
You know what I mean? We got Pro who's killing New York. You know what I mean? So shout out to Orlando DJs for sure.
Yes, sir.
So Jazzy Jeff.
Okay.
Amazing.
Jazzy Jeff. Yes.
I'm gonna go Rob Swift.
Rob Swift. Okay.
I walk the line. Like, I used to really walk the line, but now it's just to be real technical. See, are we talking Orlando? Orlando, we talking
top 5
everywhere.
dead or alive, bro.
Man,
Hey.
I'll tell you. You know what? Let's keep it Orlando. I'm gonna go Point Blank. He's nasty. I listen to Point Blank. His free fall is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Ghost Rider.
Okay.
I used to sit there. I would watch Ghost Rider just control the crowd, and it's crazy. So we'll say that.
Okay.
We'll say that. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, all right. Now, craziest thing you ever seen DJing, and go.
Bernard pissed in a cup, and it was.
That sounds like the beginning of a joke. Bernard pisses in a cup.
Yo, so we're doing Hypnotic, right?
Right. Hypnotic. Okay. Shout out to Hypnotic. Let's go.
Yeah, we were doing Hypnotic, right? And we were killing it. And fucking Bernard's like, yo, I'll be right back. I gotta go piss. I'm like, yo, you ain't fucking going nowhere. Like, you can't leave right now. I was like, no, I'll be right back. I was like, no. I go, you can't leave. So he's like, all right. He's like, I gotta piss. So he goes, I'm gonna piss in this cup. So he takes the plastic cup and he pisses in it. And as he's pissing in it, he's done, and he looks up at me and he holds up the cup, and it was a clear cup.
Right.
Yo, there's no piss in this cup. And we're like, yo, what the fuck? Yo, someone put a cigarette in the cup, and the cigarette burned a hole in the plastic. So when he pissed in the cup, the piss went into it went in the DJ booth.
Oh, hell no, man.
Yeah, I see some crazy shit though, but
yeah, that's crazy. That's definitely
crazy. It's like what? Yeah.
All right.
So we'll go with that.
All right. Favorite party record? Go.
Oh, favorite party record.
If you had one record that you had to show up to the club with that you knew was gonna rock everybody in the world,
I'm gonna say.
What's that record?
I'm gonna say Jay-Z. I Just Want to Love You.
Okay. You heard it, man.
Yeah. I think I had good success with that record.
Okay. So, last but not least, man, is there something you want to do and you just haven't done yet in your, on your bucket list when it comes to your DJing? is there something that you would like to do if you had one chance to do it? What would that be?
I would travel, DJ and travel, because I never I had people all the time like, yo, I need to get you to Atlanta, I need to get you to New York, I need to get you, and I was just, I don't know, I was just very, I don't want to say complacent, but I was just, I mean, not that I never took DJing seriously, but I think if I would have taken it a little more, I would have traveled more.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would have played New York. I would have played Atlanta. I would have played. I still might. You never know. I still might.
Right.
Make a move. But yeah, traveling, spinning other cities.
Okay. All right. Well.
But I love Orlando so much, so it was like, what do I gotta leave for?
Right. Exactly. Well, you know what, man? I knew this conversation was gonna go long because we ain't talked in a long time. At least got to kick it like this in a long time. And but I know, man, you're fucking funny as hell. You're great storyteller, and you're a part of this fucking fabric of what we call Orlando hip hop.
Yeah.
And there needs to be, more shine on the people that have been doing things out here. And I'm just glad to be able to be one of those facilitators in that, man. We need our people to shine. Y'all done legendary shit out here. The world needs to know that. And hey, bro, if I can extend the story a little bit and put a little more light on it, that's what the Sound of Orlando show is all about, bro.
Yes, I appreciate it. And thank you for everything that you've done and contributed to the city. And thank you for welcome home. I know you've been home for a minute.
Right.
Welcome back and welcome home. I'm glad to have you back and glad to have you home doing the Sound of Orlando. And I tune into the show sometimes. I hit you up after. I'm like, yo, what the fuck did you just like? There was like, some of these episodes, I'm just like, yo, it was just like so flawless. It's like if you had an algorithm, if you had a computer that could throw the perfect set together, I'm like, yo, how the fuck did he just put that? Like that shit, it was like scientific and it was like precise and it was so surgical with the way that you put together some of your sets, that I'm just like, man, that's somebody who practices. That's somebody who takes his craft seriously.
We all started from similar cloths. I've always been like I am hip hop. Like if I had any race to claim,
right,
or any heritage to claim, to me that's hip hop.
Right.
I mean, and I knew that this, regardless to what I would wind up doing in it, it would be hip hop. And God has always put me around people that feel the same way about it.
Yeah.
And Orlando's full of those fucking people.
Man,
bro.
We've got listen. We've got a great scene in Orlando. Yo, I got to be honest with you. I have friends from Miami. Like, I'm from South Florida. I have friends that live in Miami and shit, and they see some of the things that happen up here and some of the shows that we get and, the DJs and stuff like that. And they're like, yo, let me tell you something. Orlando's got a better scene than Miami. And I'm like, no fucking way. And they're like, Orlando's got a better scene than Miami. So I put Orlando listen, I love Orlando. You know what I mean? I wish we had a beach, I wish there was water closer, but I love Orlando. We got some great clubs. We got some great food. I put our DJs up. I say this a lot. I'll put our DJs up against any fucking city's DJs in terms of, I mean, you name it, we got it. Like I said, we got battle champions. We got fucking platinum producers. We got fucking amazing party rockers, I mean, and not even just hip hop, just the whole DJing as a whole. There's a lot of talented DJs
the culture.
in Orlando.
I mean,
the
when
culture.
when we say hip hop, I know it sounds like we're talking about Wu-Tang and fucking, Big Daddy Kane. No, it's the culture itself. It's the culture that has lent so much to everyone out here.
Yeah.
And has given people an identity in which, without it, this would be a lame fucking city. I think hip hop has done a lot for this fucking city.
No doubt.
We have some of the best MCs, best DJs, best writers, best video
Producers,
filmmakers,
filmmakers.
Right. I mean, and
There's a lot
they
of
come
talent in
here to
Orlando.
do their fucking work from all over the
A
fucking
lot
country.
of talent in Orlando.
Right.
Yeah, there's like Midas, the Beast, Okido, like Warheads.
Right.
There's a lot like you hear some of the talent, you hear some of the songs, and you hear some, and it's just Smiles and South Star, of course, put us on the map. You know what I mean? Can't forget that.
Shouts out to South Star on the chicken, man.
South.
Hey, I can't wait to have you on the show, bro. You definitely the sound of Orlando, homie. So
yeah,
yes, 20 years in the making, bro. You already know, man.
Yeah, so I mean, Orlando. I love Orlando. It's got a lot of talent. It's got a lot of you go to some other, I travel a lot. We would go to other big cities and stuff, and you walk around, and the scene, like the culture is just
right.
It's like you know what I mean. So yeah, definitely proud of Orlando. I love repping Orlando. I claim Orlando. I'm Orlando. I'm from Orlando. You know what I mean. So. Yeah, I love it. I'm proud of it.
Yes,
sure.
and so, like I tell all the people that come on this fucking show, my general, my brother from another mother, Remington Steele, you are the sound of Orlando. So, shouts out to you, man. Appreciate you for coming on the show.
That means a lot. I appreciate that.
And anytime, bro. You got a home here, bro. So
yeah, man.
Give it up for Mr. Remington Steele, everybody.
Here's the finger point.
Yes,
yeah, that was the word. I saw that fly. I was like, "Yo, what?"
I'm using that, and I'm using the picture next time, just cause. All right, here we go. All right, brother, love you, man.
I love you too, brother. Thank you for having me on.
You already know, man.
All right.
Yes, that was my brother, DJ Remington Steele. He is the sound of Orlando, and what I plan to do from here on out, just a heads up, is we're always gonna have a musical guest at the end of the show. And this musical guest is going to be none other than my brother, Okido. We had him on the show earlier, and unfortunately, there was glitches going on with the audio and stuff. So I figured I'd do him right and play his damn song. He is the sound of Orlando. He ain't playing around, and this is what he does. So let's go. Sound of Orlando show, man. Thanks for coming out, everyone. Let's go.
He might be 6'6", swole ass nigga with a six-pack and shit. Bankroll this big, house got motherfuckers in code and shit. Probably got no kids. I love my daughters. I'm a father that does his. You know what? Fuck him. Send that nigga. I got niggas that dump him. Send that nigga. Go ahead, bitch. Send that nigga. I already win. Send that nigga. Give a fuck who he is. Send that nigga. I already win. Motherfucker got it twisted. Niggas ain't scared, but the fuck boy like him. Tell me, does he kiss it? Lips all in it, got your hips all twitching. And when you're restless, wrestle that 90 till you unwind and shit. Does it leave you breathless? Fingers on fire, then you back leave you stressless. Send that nigga. Go ahead, bitch. Send that nigga. I already win. Send that nigga. Give a fuck who he is. Send that nigga. I already win. Would he battle through your darkness even though he can see? Does he shower you with flowers hoping that you would breathe? If you're drowning in emotion, would he dive in the sea? So let's see, will he love you unconditionally? Send that nigga. Go ahead, bitch. Send that nigga. I already win. Send that nigga.
Yes, sir. Sound of Orlando show. This is your boy, Rome. Thanks for joining us with the show, man. It was a great honor and privilege to have my man, Remington Steele, bro, in the house of Steele. Yes, sir. And that's Okido. Send that now. Okido is sick, man. Please believe me. Yes, sir. He is the sound of Orlando, too, man. So, yes, thank you for coming out. Until next time, next week, we'll be back. Holla at your boy, all right?